something a little out of the ordinary is this Arctic Cat 500 sitting in here. I'm going to do a quick oil change on this. I'm going to do a nice little tutorial on how to do the oil changes on these Arctic Cats and discuss a little bit about this thing. First things first, you're going to want to drain the oil. I believe it's actually metric, but I got a 13/16 to fit on the bottom side of the engine, and I'll try to get a picture or video of the actual spot where that's located. And I was able to get that on there, and it made it a little bit a little bit tight on that drain plug, but it seemed to work. So I've got that draining right now. I'm going to get once this all drains out, I'm going to get that oil filter off, and that filter location is just up on the inside of the engine here. It's easier to get from the other side, but I think it'll work out pretty well. Let's scoot this up a little bit because I think I can just do both at the same time. Really, your oil plug is it's right down in here. It's kind of hard to see. I don't know if I'm getting it. So yeah, it's a little harder to see on this side where the drain plug is. I don't know if you could really see it to begin with, but you can definitely see that the filter is right up here, and it does have a little nut on top of it to remove it, which is a nice addition to this. It's a little loose. It's a little tight, so it's going to be my 11/16. So hopefully pop that off. Oh yeah, that's coming off. It's easy. So what I've got here is it's a Fram PH6017A. I ordinarily don't buy Fram, so I usually go with like a Napa filter, which even those aren't great anymore, but I'll do Wix, Purolator. Oh boy. I don't think that's the right thread. Nope. That's why I usually buy parts. So after a quick little trip to the auto parts store, got the right filter. This is a KN138. There's about 6 different models of these, so double check that you've got the right parts for this stuff. And I say 6 different models, like it's not like 100 different models for these quads in general. The 500s have several different models by themselves. So yeah, I'm kind of glad I got the right one because this has an O-ring on it, not a flat ring. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill this filter just a little bit. I don't know if it's really necessary on one of these, but I don't like dry start. So I just want to make sure I get a little bit in there. And this may be an old school thing, and it's just the way I've learned how to do all my oil changes, so I always put a little bit in just to make sure it's good. Just get a little pre-fill in it. And as always, lube up the O-ring. Try not to make a mess. Alright. That's on. Gonna have to put the drain plug back in. Just go ahead and see if I can roll up under there and do that. And then start filling. It says 2.6 quarts. There's a little VR1 in there. It's Valvoline as well, so The oil viscosity is just a little different, but it's not that far off. Now, I got oil on the stick, and it looks like it's full, so go ahead and fire it up and let it run for a second, let it get through the system. Got it flowing through the system, so now I should get a better accurate reading on this. No, I'm actually right on the money there. So I did have just enough VR1 to throw in this. So the fun fact about these, for the electric start, at least on this model, your starter's right up in here. There's going to be a gear here, here. I think it's just these two, and they connect to the flywheel. So then when you hit your electric start, it's got this gear reduction. Now, the later models, I believe, have less issues with this because they have anti-kickback. And I've experienced kickback when pull starting it. So on the picture that I'll post here, you can see that at number 1, there's supposed to be an actual gear. This does not have that. And number 2, there's a broken tab, which you can look at this picture down here. You'll see the broken tab where it's supposed to be. Somebody's been in this before because it's got orange RTV all around this cover. And they pulled those gears out because it kicked back, it broke the tab and everything on it. So there's nothing I can do to repair the electric start except for replace the engine block. But the pull start still works great. You just got to keep it running every week or so. And ultimately, it's a decent quad, but I will say I'm not a fan of Arctic Cat's part system, how many differences there are in these things. And like I said, it's nice, but I'm just not a fan of them. I would much rather get a Polaris or something like that that's a little bit more common, a little bit more modern, and hopefully better parts. But I don't mess with four-wheelers that much, so I can't contest to it being better or worse. So just make sure that you have the right filters, right oil, and correct amount of oil, because these also have the manual transaxle or gearbox, whatever you want to call it, and the manuals take 3.5 quarts, whereas the automatics take 2.6 quarts. This happens to be an automatic, so it takes a little less. But other than that, that's how to change the oil in an Arctic Cat 500.